Hey, welcome to Challenge 7, the podcast where we challenge each other to a new movie or TV show every week. I am Frank, and I'm here with Thomas.
Aloha, everybody. And man, this was a come down from last week. I
Yes.
don't know, have all of you out there emotionally recovered? I barely did, but I was also prepped. I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think the internet or the outside world has recovered from last week's episode?
I like the Rolling Stones put out a subtitle for this saying The Quiet After the Storm. I really
Ooh,
liked that. Yeah, because I think the storm of last week, episode 2, was so out of nowhere and so hectic that this was a nice little breather. Just Ellie and Dina riding a horse through the forest is a good little breather. And it's gonna kick shit's gonna kick back up next week. But this
yeah.
was definitely us taking time to mourn Joel and figure out what are we doing going forward. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. We see a lot of trauma with Ellie in this one. She
Mhm.
definitely has PTSD about it. There's
Yes.
I will say though, I didn't feel like Pedro was missing in this episode too. So that was really well done.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't think about it. Like I was like, I know he's not in this episode, but I didn't. Maybe it's because we see everybody mourning him and we see Tommy in the beginning
Hmm.
where, like the fire's still blazing behind the scenes and he's like cleaning him off and we see the broken watch. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, it's only been one episode, but I haven't missed it yet, I guess.
Right. One of the things that Druckmann had mentioned is that they want to make sure that you guys start to realize that Ellie is Joel now, and like the way that she slings her gun like he does, the way that she sits in front of the horse now. They mentioned that at the end of the episode. So she'll be taking on kind of that stoic character we follow, which Ellie is perfect for that. We had two stoic characters beforehand, and now Dina's going to be that wisecracking sidekick along the way. And yes, their relationship will develop. And then we also have Tommy that's going to be out there too. Like Tommy's going to leave Jackson soon, and he's going to be kind of that badass that we got out of Joel. So we're going to have kind of those elements of Joel scattered amongst our remaining players.
Oh, okay. I like it. That's like, the Stark kids who all embodied a piece of Ned Stark.
So fucking well said. Very nice.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
exactly.
cool. Nice, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I dig that. How did you feel about Ellie in this episode, right? I mean, I thought it was really good as she was mourning. I like her little quips with Gail,
Yeah.
but there was moments where I'm like, I don't know. Like, it just wasn't landing for me as much. What did you think about Ellie?
I really liked the conversation with Gail because I've seen that conversation before. We were just like, just tell them what you want, what they want to hear, so we can get past this. Oh, I'm
Right.
fine. Oh, it's okay. And that's Ellie, right? That's so Ellie, is that she knows she thinks at that level. Gail, I think, is probably the best survivor of apocalypse I've ever seen. She's watching a baseball game, drinking beers, and getting high all the time.
Right.
That sign me up for that apocalypse.
I know. I was like, where was she? Like, they didn't even mention like it would have been nice to be like, yeah, good thing one of those bunkers was really sealed away or something. But I was like,
Yeah.
Gail seems like she was just chilling at the house, didn't even know anything was going on. She was like, I was so stoned, dude, didn't even know.
I went for a beer run and I'm like, what's with all the fire?
Yeah,
um,
exactly.
but I liked that aspect of Ellie, the fact that she's just like kind of gonna be, she knows she's going to Washington and she'd like as much help as possible. If she doesn't get it, she doesn't care. She's getting on a horse. And I I do appreciate that, and I think it's gonna take time for her to kind of really find what her new character's gonna look like. I don't think it's in this episode yet, though.
Oh, that makes sense. And one thing I will say though, that I thought she killed was the town hall meeting when they're trying to
Yes.
figure out and get everybody involved in. Do we send out a posse? I don't know why I had to be like 0 or 16, but that's how they made that decision.
I loved that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was really good, and her speech was really good. And
Hmm.
then the old big
Seth.
Seth guy, him coming in and kind of defending her, even though it was very just like angry uncle kind of way,
Yeah.
was like it's still really well done. I thought she killed it on that speech. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, I think that there's some something that we could pull from that even to today's politics and stuff like that is like the moral grounds go beyond what we said in the past or whatever. Like we should do what's right. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of people in that room that agree with that, but also like they're scared and their safety with, being quiet and stuff like that. This new world, they don't know what it looks like. But like if you think about before the apocalypse, you would assume justice would be delivered. If you guys are trying to make a new future, you got to go back to the way things used to be with that. And, I think the rest of the people in the room, for the most part, are too scared to make that action, and she doesn't care. And she's trying to. I love how she's like, "This isn't about vengeance, guys." It's like, bullshit. If it ain't about vengeance, you are vengeance
Yeah.
incarnate right now. A
Yeah. No, so true. But I got the feeling like she was almost believing herself for a little bit.
little
Did you
bit,
get that
yeah,
feeling?
a
She
little
was
bit,
like,
yeah. I
"Oh,
got
this
that.
is about justice." Like, yeah, it's about justice. That's right.
Yeah,
And then, yeah, we know very much so. Like, she's still on the
she's a good
path to
bullshitter.
revenge.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought that was really well done. It was
I
cool. It was
think
cool to
I
see
think
them
the
that way.
highlight to me in Ellie's emotional journey is when she's going through Joel's house, which she first goes to her old room and the mattress is out of the room. And the way she's like looking at that bed without the mattress, I think is
Mhm.
reminding her like I abandoned him to live out in the garage, being an angsty teen. I don't blame her
Right.
necessarily, but that's what she's
Mhm.
probably putting onto herself. Then she goes into his bedroom and she sees what Tommy put on the bed, which is his old gun and his old watch. And then when she sees the jacket, and as soon as she sees the jacket, I'm like, all the marketing comes back to me of seeing Joel in that jacket and thinking like, that's to me. Whenever you lose a loved one, there's like that one thing that's like that's the part of them that reminds me of them the most or whatever.
Yeah.
And going to the jacket, and then she like puts it up to her face, and like I know what she's gonna do. She's gonna smell the jacket because that's one
Mhm.
of the things too when you lose a loved one is like just a little piece of that smell again just
Yeah.
unlocks so many more memories.
Totally.
And
Or
I
even if
thought
a
that was like,
breakup.
yeah, that's another really good one. Yeah,
You go through a breakup and then you're like,
yeah,
sheets smell like that person, and you're like, I'm never gonna get this again.
yeah. And but I thought that was like the most open that Ellie actually got to her emotions, and then she shut them back off as soon as Dina knocked on the door. But I really liked that.
Oh, great call. You're right. And then she put on that facade of like, no, I'm good and I'm
Right.
tough. And even the cookies, she's like, ooh, why'd you make me the cookies? Well,
Yeah.
you're gonna like me for this because I'm gonna tell you something you're gonna hate in a second.
Mhm.
And it also makes sense why Ellie didn't or did stay in the hospital for so long. It's also good to know that they kind of have some doctors or some medical professionals, whether they were like really trained or not. So it's like, okay, there's there is opportunity down the line for some type of medical advancement again. So I think that was kind
Yeah.
of interesting. I didn't even realize that that was an option in Jackson. So I was like, okay, cool. But I love this addition to Dina. I think Isabella Merced is playing it kind of fun and whimsical, but also like I loved him too. And we got a few lines, right? We got the first line where he's repairing something, and then she asked him like, "What are you doing? Like, teach me how to fix
Yeah.
it." And he does. And there is enough established for me to know that they were close
Hmm.
and that she would want to go. Is that kind of the case in the game, from what you know?
Not that I remember that those two were close at all, but the thing that the show made sure to make pretty evident is that it's been 5 years, so it makes sense that like there's been time for them to connect and stuff. Um, yeah. So I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, I'm
Yeah, it
trying to
was
think. I
more
don't
of
think so. But yeah.
Yeah, it was her just kind of in the game. From what it sounded like to me, was that she just was kind of along the ride because of Ellie, and like,
Hmm.
I'm gonna support you, Ellie, and I got your back, and I'll be with you. And then Ellie's just on the path to revenge. So like but I kind of like that Dina has her own motivations to help Ellie. Besides, I just like you a lot. It's like
Yeah.
he was kind of a father to me too. That's kind of like an added
That's
element.
that's a really far thing to go with though. With father, personally, I would say to me the vibe I get out of Dina is like when you just kind of get along with your girlfriend's dad. It's
Yeah,
not common, but when that does happen, you're like, oh wait, this might actually work out well then, because I don't have to fight him. Like
yeah,
it might just work out. It reminds me of that so many times when she's talking to him earlier. I was
yeah.
like, oh, they're just clicking. It like, oh, when you get along, when your girlfriend's dad happens to like the same football team as you, it's like, oh God, thank God we have something to talk about other than like, yeah, I like your daughter. This is awkward.
Right, right.
So I kind of got those vibes, and I think bringing that about, like what she said, like I loved him too. Personally, I was like, don't say that in front of Ellie. Ellie lost him. Like Tommy's
Right,
the only one
right.
that has that stake to say that to her right now.
Right.
But
And he says that to her by the stable,
right,
where or like the cows, and he's like, "Hey, don't act like I don't know him. He's my brother too."
exactly.
And you're like, and that's the only person it seems like that Ellie's like, "Okay, you win."
Right.
You're right. You did have more time with him. But yeah. I don't know. Maybe we'll get more flashbacks to him and Dina, or them
That'd
talking
be
about it.
nice.
That maybe it explains it more. But yeah, it was cool. She also comes in and provides this really good basis of like, hey, are you going to go out there in those Chucks Converse, and you're going to bring all just nothing but guns, no food, no backpack, no jacket, just guns. Like, come on, we got
Yeah.
to think about this. And yeah, it was just kind of like, it's this really cool Batman and Robin dynamic that made sense that these two would go off on this journey.
Yeah. And Dina's going to be a really good kind of check to her because she's not going to go prepared. She's going to be judging by her emotions, and Dina's that kind of level-headed one that she's going to need. And that's good because Tommy's left behind, and Tommy's not necessarily going to be level-headed either. I mean, he's going to want revenge for his brother, but
Right.
I think that's needed. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I also was watching in the game as well. And I, again, didn't play, but just kind of watching some recaps. He immediately goes off to find Joel's
Yes.
killers, right?
Yeah, because he's there with Joel when he dies.
That's true, right.
He takes place of where Dina is in the show. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. What do you think they changed that up? And you do think he's gonna eventually still leave and try to chase the whatever they are, the wolves down?
Yeah. I think he's going to sit there in Jackson, see that Jackson's kind of doing good on its own, and it's going to bug him. It's going to gnaw at him to not get revenge or anything like that. Something's going to happen in Jackson. Maybe he'll have a conversation with Seth. It's good to hear that Seth's on the side like that. I don't know. Something's going to happen.
Right.
Because I don't. I'm trying to remember. There is, without spoiling anything, Ellie and Tommy are definitely going to run into each other a couple more times going forward.
Oh, okay.
But it's not in Jackson. It's
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Washington, right? So
Right.
I don't think she gets word back to him like, "Hey, yeah, come over here to the Seahawks stadium. Let's go fuck them up." But
Right.
something like that
That'd be
probably
awesome
happens.
though. I wish she said it word for word just like that. That'd be great.
That's the thing is they don't use they use like the Seattle. It's not the Sounders, right? Because that's the real name, but they use like something like Sounder Hawks or something like that. Like it's not
Just like
Seahawks, but
combine
yeah,
these names. Yeah.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
just like the name today, Viper and Cub or whatever it's called. That movie that he likes, and then she
oh yeah,
references it when they get to Seattle, like right to the edge. So yeah, yeah, well that's awesome. I can't wait to see it. It looks so dope. Obviously, big fan of the city. My dad grew up there,
Mhm.
and big Seahawks fan and whatnot. But just to see how they did it for the show, all overgrown, and are getting shots to the stadium and setting it up as a military base. Oh man, that was sick.
Did you see the
So
clip I put out there that showed pictures from the game of the stadium itself?
I haven't. No.
Okay, it's in the hopper. It might be coming up in a couple days then. But it
Okay.
actually like they put a farm in the middle, like 50th yard lines, got a little farm and stuff.
Oh
And
really?
it's just so cool. It's like, yeah, stadium's huge, and really you could create an entire community inside that one stadium. It's
Right.
sick.
Yeah, that's awesome. You see that in Civil War, like Alex Garland's like
Okay.
A24 movie and whatnot. They
Yeah,
do
yeah, yeah.
they do a very similar thing. So yeah, apparently like yeah, people would be camped out in stadiums is what we're learning
Yeah,
now.
for sure.
Um, do you know who? Okay, we get that shot of these people who have like the Glasgow smile kind of cut
Yes.
into their face. He's talking to his daughter. They're in like these very creepy but very like toned down robes,
Right.
and his daughter's asking for a hammer.
Mhm.
Um, they eventually all get killed in this episode. Who are they?
They're
Or
cults. They're not
they're a cult?
necessarily good
Okay.
guys either. Um, there's no good guys in a post-apocalyptic show, obviously, but they're a cult, and a couple of their characters will eventually end up with Abby and kind of give Abby her story of
Oh,
parentage through trying to take care of a couple of these
oh,
cult members. Yeah.
interesting. Okay. All
One of
right.
the things I'll note now, if you guys are watching the episode, note that all the men look the same and all the women look the same. That's important going forward.
Interesting. Okay, I didn't notice that. I saw that all the guys kind of had shaved heads, but that was
Exactly.
about it.
And all the girls have like this like braided hair. That's very
Mm.
important. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. There's nothing for. I mean, everything has a reason in this show.
Yes,
That's what I
exactly.
like. Yeah. Dang, that's awesome. All right, well, they eventually all get slaughtered. Dean and Ellie go on this trip, and we kind of see, I guess a lot of people's issues with last episode, even though I don't, I think last episode was damn near perfect, was incredible. But
Agreed.
I think what some people's issue was that what was it that Dina and Ellie didn't get that moment where their relationship kind of grows in the greenhouse.
Yeah, yeah.
But it seems like they're kind of doing it here. Is
Hmm.
that, yeah? Did they have similar conversations, or is that like what you got from it?
I think that's the idea, right? Now they're letting. I think they're like, we have to let. How do I say this? Like Ellie is cocooning into a more adult version of herself, which we definitely see in the second game, and I
Mhm.
think part of that is just exploring her relationship with Dina. Um, Dina too is like she says, like I never kissed a girl before. What was it like? Dina's
Mhm.
exploring her sexuality. She was just in a relationship with the other guy that we saw, like how he's really good at swinging the hammer. I can't remember his name for the life of me.
Jesse?
Jesse.
Yeah.
Very. She was just a week before the events that happened that New Year's. She was with Jesse, which it's
Mhm.
important to remember that it was just a week before, guys. Spoiler alert for
Mhm.
that too.
Mhm.
But yeah, so she's also exploring herself, and those two I think will fall in love more and more as time goes on in this season.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting because she's like, oh, she was like, oh, how would you rate the kiss? Went on. She's like, because you're gay and I'm not. And it was like, wait, what?
Yeah,
Like that was an interesting thing for her to say because she made a very bold move kissing her in front of the entire town that night. If you're not
yeah,
gay, like not only would that confuse everybody, but how could that not confuse Ellie as well? And I think
right,
that's
right, right.
why when they get to the tent scene later on, Ellie kind of pulls back. Like she obviously wants to be close to her, but then Dina keeps saying like, "How was the kiss? Like, what do you think?" Like,
Right.
yeah, and it's just I don't know. I mean, it's I guess meant to be there to tease that a relationship is blossoming. But man, what a confusing start that Dina has
So,
given Ellie.
couple things. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Ellie initiated the kiss on New Year's. I
Oh,
thought. I could be wrong.
maybe Ellie
Maybe.
doesn't strike me as that kind of person, but maybe.
Right, right. But if you were like kind of like nervous and like, okay, I want to kiss a girl, kind of like that kind of energy.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
other thing is, I think the reason she's pulling away from Dina is because she's like, I don't deserve joy yet. We still have to kill Joel's killers. So she's
Right.
trying to put off any kind of happiness because that means that you're recovering it, or like if when you're in mourning, a lot of
Mhm.
times you'll kind of rationalize it as like, no, I'm not allowed to forget about Joel yet. And it's like
Right.
forgetting about the person, which is not, but we're not thinking rationally in that moment. I think that's
Uh,
what Ellie's going through right now.
yeah, that makes sense. I could see it that way too. Yeah, you're like, I'm just not ready to be happy, so I can't
Yes.
fall for this person and like forget about the mission or like this thing that I lost or this person I lost really.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was good. It was really well done. I liked it. We should probably talk about them visiting the headstone first.
Oh
It
yeah,
seems
that was
like
nice. Beautiful scene.
yeah, she drops coffee beans. Like I
Yeah.
don't know what that means. To me, I was like, oh, it's interesting. Like I didn't necessarily associate coffee beans with Joel, but maybe to me it stood out as like an Easter egg for the game.
No, he said it in the show.
Did
She's. I think now I'm not sure. God damn it. Anyways,
what is
because
it?
remember how she first off she was telling the therapist like, no, I didn't talk to him at the on top of the thing. We saw in
Right.
the show that she did because she was talking to him about the coffee, and he was saying like I had to trade somebody
In
for
the
the coffee.
show?
Maybe that was
No,
only in the game.
that's in the game. Yeah, because in the show,
Okay.
all we see is she walks up, and then it looks like she walks away, and then
Okay.
we see him playing the guitar.
Whoops. So yes, she does mention they talk about coffee. He says something along the lines of like,
Oh.
"Yeah, I traded for coffee. I hate to say what I traded for to get this coffee, but it tastes better than anything else, something like that." So yeah, that conversation starts
Oh.
off with them talking about coffee. That's kind of the icebreaker for them to talk after he had punched Seth.
Interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. That's a future thing we'll probably get a flashback to then. Okay, that was interesting
Yeah, at the
because
end of season
it
3, then probably.
yeah, didn't really make a lot of sense to me at that time. I was like really more curious to see what was on his headstone. And it was like beloved father and brother.
Yeah.
So or brother and father. Well, I like how they ended there because it's like he kind of was a father to two girls.
Yeah.
And
And even Tommy said like, "Give my love to Sarah," and I was like, "Oh, that's sweet."
yeah. Ooh, that one. That yeah. Oof, that was crazy. But
Yeah.
it was beautiful how they set it up. He said it was 10 miles outside of the town. From what I understand too, in the game, it was in the wintertime. In the show, it's now in the spring because they had to take a little bit of time to establish that she had healed so that
Hmm.
she could
Yeah.
go on
Three
this
months.
adventure. Yeah. So yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, very powerful scene.
Mhm.
I think it's just, yeah, it kind of sets, maybe it solidifies for her too. Yes, he is gone. I have to keep going now. And they continue on.
It's probably a lot cheaper to film in the spring too, because then you don't have to put down snow everywhere. And then like every
Sure.
time you reshoot, that's one of the problem is like every time you reshoot in snow, you have to like fill the snow back and then shoot it again. You do multiple takes. And so I'm
Right,
like,
right.
I'm sure they're like, you know what? Took her 3 months to heal.
Yeah, that's true. And then like all the actors were probably like, yeah, okay, we're cold. You know, can we tell
Yeah.
me we're not shooting in the snow for, 6 months or something?
Yeah.
Even though I think they still did, but you know what I mean?
Beautiful shots too. Those panning shots, the landscapes, the mountainside. Sometimes you forget how beautiful this country is, and it's like, man, all the mountain ranges in the background. It was gorgeous, very well done. And the music, again, same composer from the video games. And I'm a sucker for when somebody like lets their finger slide on the guitar, and you hear the actual
Yeah.
movement. I'm a sucker for that, and you hear it, and it's just like
Yeah.
feels so
So
real.
true. What is that called? I gotta look that up too, because yeah, I know it's called like a slack key guitar, right? Is when people use
Okay.
that, but it's like,
Mhm.
is that a slack key? Is that what it's called? The move of that? I have no idea. But it is so beautiful. And then like there's almost this like Spanish, like what do they call it? Baller. Oh man, I don't even want to embarrass myself right now. There's a name for it, okay?
Yeah.
In Spanish that is just beautiful. And yes, the music is so good in this show. Man, it's so awesome.
In Portuguese,
also-
it's called fado. That's what it reminds me. Is the Portuguese music version of it's called fado music, and so
Fado,
that's what it
okay.
reminded me of. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. That sounds beautiful, man. What is it's like? Not flamingo, but I don't know. Ballet. Ah, gosh, I can't even.
I don't know. I don't know Spanish for
You're
something.
like, yeah, you're throwing your own lifeline out there, and you're hoping you can catch it. Last thing, we see that most of those guys with the crazy tunic and the symbol and all that
Yeah.
get slaughtered. It makes Dina throw up.
Mhm.
I think we
Mhm.
both know that that is a sign of future things, but I think it's worth noting in this
Oh,
episode.
well, I think we've been pretty heavy-handed, guys. You know, watch us throwing up.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
yeah, they literally use that line in the tent, I think, as a reason to be like, I got with him one more time before, we kissed, I was
Yeah.
like, all right. So, yeah, I think it's safe
Dina's
to say.
pregnant. Let's just get it out there. Dina's pregnant, and Ellie will be a mama. Ellie and
Well-
Dina raised the baby together for a little bit, obviously. Yeah.
Wow, really? Holy shit, that's crazy. That,
Yeah, I mean,
didn't know- I don't know if they like stay together or, if Ellie, because I don't know where this journey, and that's like one of the lovely things about this show for me, is I don't know how, like, obviously she's going on a path for revenge, but I don't know what
Right.
happens if she gets it, if she doesn't get it. How does it then change her so much that can she go back to Jackson? Can she go back with
yeah.
Dina? There's so many parts of that I still don't know, which I
At
kinda
some
love.
point, Ellie has to go back because they do try to kind of there's a lot of kind of it's not going to be just one shot to go to Seattle and take care of business. There's a lot of stop. Let's try to settle down. Let's try to just forget this. Let's get back into it. The idea is Dina, again, like we talked about beforehand, is the wise and calm one who's saying like, hey, you killed a lot of the wolves. Maybe we can slow down. And Ellie's like, yeah, we'll rest for a bit. Abby's not dead yet. When she whispered Abby's name, by the way, when Dina told her Abby, when she whispered Abby's name, like, yes, because it's just like, that she will have that name will be etched in her brain again, like Game of Thrones, when Arya used to say all the Lannister names in the top of her head before she goes to bed every night, and it's like, yes, that's so cool.
I know, so good. Yeah, it's gonna be wild, man. We finished too with all the wolves, Washington Liberation Front, and there's a lot of them, and they're heavily armored. They have a tank, I'm pretty sure, and at least two like Humvee vehicles, which is crazy because nobody seems to have cars this day. So man, they have a huge front. It's
What is
gonna
it?
be
Jeremy Wright? Jeffrey Wright? What's his name? That's
wild.
running
Yeah,
them.
Jeffrey Wright. Yep.
Jeffrey Wright. He's the one leading the wolves. They're going to be fun to watch. Yeah, and I like how they even had a call out too. Like, oh yeah, this one from when he was with the Fireflies said like, yeah, there's multiple groups on the West Coast. Why didn't they all team up and join the Fireflies or something like that? So we kind of got an idea that like, yeah, there's a lot of little militias everywhere. The wolves is very popular, of course.
Well, it's almost like Andor-esque, right? It's like, why don't these rebellions just join up to take down Fedra, right? Or the Empire for that matter. But yeah.
I kind of got the vibe of Andor too when she went to the cemetery and we had that big panning shot of this like what looked like it was like grasslands, but like it was and then that reminded me of on Andor when we visited that wheat fields planet. And I was like, man, that's just a really cool look, But yeah.
God, they're just, yeah, both these shows, the budget is on full display, shooting in real locations and real
Mm.
lighting. It's just beautiful. Like, yeah, this had so many moments of just like beautiful landscape and different settings. Yeah, undeniable that this show looks great. I wonder. Yeah, I'm just so curious. Hey, if you've listened this far, thank you all so, so much. Can't wait to hear your feedback. What did you think about this episode? Did they grieve Joel enough? Was there more that you hope to see? How are you feeling? Like, do you already miss Pedro Pascal? Like, all those questions I'm so curious about because I didn't. I thought it was beautiful. And I'm wondering if I'll feel it as the season goes on. I'm like, dang, it'd be really nice to get, Pedro back, but I wonder if they'll pace it out to where we get a flashback.
Yeah. No, that'd be pretty cool. And then also, guys, let us know if there's any particular movies that you guys want us to start to review. We're going to be not reviewing movies while we're watching The Last of Us and Andor. Andor, especially, is like 3 hours every Tuesday. So bear with us as we take a break on some movies, challenging back and forth. We'll be back to them for sure. I know we both have a couple we want to challenge it to that too. So, but if you guys have any that you want to challenge us to, let us know. We're happy to add those to the queue. And drop us a review on both Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We appreciate it a ton. If you send me a picture of your review for our podcast, I'll send out, let's see, for the next 2 people, I'll send out mugs. There we go.
Ooh,
Boom. DM us on
nice.
this on Instagram, and I'll send out a mug to you. The first 2 people who send out reviews.
There you go. Your coffee sponsored by Geek Freaks and
Oh,
Challenge
snap.
Accepted.
All right, guys. Thank you for hanging out with us. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Aloha.